Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hello, welcome to How Leaders Behave, and today we're unpacking the efficient tendencies of the resolute leader. My name's Peter Agnew, joined with Mark Hoare. Hi Mark, how you going?
Hi everybody, how are you?
Yeah,
Good
great.
to see you, Peter.
Thank you, good to see you too. Nice shirt as well.
Thank you, I thought I'd wear a quiet one.
I'm sticking with the check, but we'll keep
just for the
pushing
resolute guys, I know they're going to love this shirt.
They will.
Yeah.
Today we are looking at the resolute leaders, and as we go through, we're going to be unpacking one of the 8 dimensions of leadership, the resolute leader. And Mark, this really relates to our DISC profile again, just to do a quick cap shop or a bit of a review of our processes. We're at the sort of 9 o'clock phase of the 8 dimensions of leadership, based on the 8 dimensions of leadership book, which is a Wiley product, and understanding the DISC style a little bit more. It does relate to our DISC profile though, doesn't it, Mark?
Yeah, and as you can see from that slide there, the resolute sits absolutely with the challenge leadership piece, which are sitting in between that dominance piece and that conscientious piece. So a very unique set of behaviors belong to this group of leaders. And obviously we'll go in detail of those 3 major traits. But what's great about this group of people is when they accept the data as valid, they really take it on very, very well, and they can absorb it, and their desire for personal growth and mastery is huge. Yeah. The challenge is
the people aspect.
And also getting them to accept the data. So if you can get them to accept the concept, they move very fast, very quickly forward with it.
Yeah, the word challenge isn't there by accident, is it?
Absolutely.
There's going to be, this leader will like to be quite challenging and resolute in that they're quite resolute in making sure that their point's made, and resolute in getting decisions correctly. Sometimes a little bit stubborn in that regard as well.
Yeah, their tendency to push back is
going
prominent,
to be pretty strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it should be a good episode for you guys. Hope you get a lot from it.
It should, certainly would be. And so just to recap, Mark, we are using our DISC profile, overlaying over the 8 dimensions of leadership. We are just popping into here, and we'll have a look at the 3 behaviours that we can really learn from in the resolute leader, because the resolute leader has a real lot to teach us in the way of leadership style. Overall, we've got 24 behaviours around our circumplex there. If we were to break leadership down into 24 behaviours, this is the model that should be used. But at the end of the day, it is just a model, and it breaks down the complexity, but we don't want to bring everything. We talk in sort of tendencies rather than absolutes as we go through.
And I think that the power of the model is that today's modern leader is capable of all of these. Not just, I live here, so I stay here. That's not what this is about, is it?
And there's a question we often get asked is, do I have to be an expert at all of these behaviours? And the answer is probably no, but leaders need to be competent to a certain level in these 24 behaviours to really be an effective leader. So again, leadership is complex. We need to break down leadership into identifying what are some of the key behaviours. This model helps do that. So if we steam on into our resolute leader, there's going to be a couple of attributes that sort of step out for our resolute leader. And if we look at them at their best, they're certainly questioning leaders who aren't afraid to challenge the status quo to get better results. Sort of improving methods sort of sits in this as well, close to that next to the commanding leader.
And this drive for creativity, this drive for making it the best and unique and the best process, and never this unquenchable thirst of how can we do this better, which is a great attribute.
Yeah, so skepticism really comes on that side of the DISC profile. That's probably where the questioning comes from, isn't it? It's you tell me something, but do I believe it? I see the environment as unfavourable, so I'm naturally going to question something when you tell me. And I'm even going to the fact of challenging it when you tell me something. I really want to know the logic behind it to truly understand it, to be able to quantify it. So really a no-nonsense quality leader that is constantly looking forward to look for the fine-tuning as well.
And I think they certainly help you grow working with them, because they're not afraid to say, hey, look, you can do this better. Probably not going to acknowledge you too well if it's going really well, because they expect that to happen anyway. But if it's not working, you will understand very clearly that there's things going to be done better.
And this is so often needed within the workplace as well. Sometimes we just shoot for pragmatism, and we sort of have those great ideas, but we don't have anyone to sort of play that devil's advocate to say, well, actually, hang on a moment. Let's take a step back here and let's look at the details. Let's have a look at the due diligence before we actually go off and sort of guns blazing off into the new horizons. So Mark, let's now move into the 3 practices that we can learn from this leader, because they're going to be really important for us. And out of 24 behaviours, these 3 come out of the Resolute leader: setting high expectations in the workplace. Sometimes people are a little bit low key. Sometimes they've got that harmony piece that's operating there within their behavioural style. Let's not upset too many people in making decisions. Let's not address problems. All of those things that we've talked about.
All the guys on the eastern side of the DISC profile. Yeah.
But this one is really about, well, no, here's the expectation and it's high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to achieve it.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to work really hard to get that. We can probably think of many ways in the workplace where sometimes the low bar is often set and the leader sort of sets that low standard and it becomes the cultural norm. We think, okay, if the leader's okay with that, we can naturally do it in some ways. Yeah. Okay, we then move into the second one, which is about speaking up about problems. So this one is about identifying the problems, and it's sort of like that treasure hunt for this leader. It's the challenge. I'm going to find it. There's things that are going to be incorrect in this particular philosophy or this project or this work piece, and I'm going to find the problems, but I'm also going to call them out.
Yeah, there's a joy in that, isn't that, for them?
Yeah.
Once I've found the problem, we can celebrate because there's a problem, and now we need to fix the problem.
Yeah, and there's probably times where leaders don't speak up about problems. They just sort of let them slide through. I don't want to cause ripples in the workplace. I don't want to cause tension. This leader won't do that.
No, they'll go straight for the throat.
Yeah.
This is the problem. Let's get on with it.
Great. Okay, and then the third one is about improving methods. So there's always inefficiencies in any system normally, isn't there?
Yep.
There's inefficiencies in the way we do things with procedures, the way things happen, the way we coordinate projects. This leader is pretty good at playing detective to figure out where those inefficiencies are, and they'll be looking for the ways to improve methods as part of it.
Yeah, what they're really great at is they're testing the assumptions that, this is the way we do things, where they're going to be going, well, why? Why do we do it that way? Is there a better way? Is there a quicker way?
Yep.
Is there a more effective, more efficient way? And they're great at that. They bring great value to any organization. When they do this well, it works really well.
And I think we probably code this word in workplaces sometimes as continuous improvement, total quality management, all of that stuff with detail that has a system and process. This sort of falls out in this particular area.
And not only can we learn this, but they excel at this. They love it. They're great at this.
Because some people will be pretty bored with this sort of stuff. It can be pretty dry sometimes, can't it? And probably the thing that relates to this is the time that it takes to get these things right, methodically working through a project plan. These leaders are pretty good at that sort of stuff, though.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so they're the 3 practices we can learn from the Resolute leader. Let's have a little bit of a look at some of the main drivers when it comes to this leadership style. We know that some drivers will be underlining the leadership style, and we know that these particular areas can sometimes limit the effectiveness of leader. So a tendency to drive to overcome obstacles.
I was just thinking, before we get into this, if this is you, and we're giving you some information, rather than push back, maybe just see if you can sit with it for a bit and say, well, is this me?
Yeah.
Rather than that ability to say, no, it's not me straight away.
Natural tendency to sort of say, what are these two talking about? Is going to be a big part of this. So I think that growth strategy that we often talk about in training is that getting outside of the comfort zone. We know we've got a comfort zone. Outside of that comfort zone is the growth zone. And sometimes that can be really challenging to get feedback on a particular style and say, well, I'm not sure I like that description of me. If you're feeling a bit uncomfortable, sometimes that's a really good thing.
Yeah. Looks like a duck, smells like a duck, might be a duck.
Could be.
Yeah.
All right, so let's have a look at a little bit about driving to overcome obstacles in some ways. So this one is they see obstacles there and they will naturally assume it's almost that life is an unbearable struggle, and I know that, and I'm going to push through it anyway.
And I'm happy in my misery.
Yeah, people will be there naturally to form obstacles for me to get around, and I just know that that's going to be part of it. And
it's my job to find them.
My job is to push through that and keep moving forward in some ways. So the tenacious drive there is that sort of motivation to sort of pick them out and find them and then push through in some ways.
Which is interesting because in principle you would think that would be a strength.
Yeah.
A tenacious drive to overcome obstacles.
Yeah.
And yet we've listed this as a limit of their ability to lead effectively.
Yeah.
So how is that a negative then?
It's probably going to be the ability to compromise and the ability to stay open to other people's input and the ability to take other people's ideas and engage in two-way dialogue. All of those sorts of things will be part of it. I think I've mentioned a couple of stories about that, giving input to someone when they're coaching in near these particular styles, and someone discounting any input whatsoever you may give them as a coach is quite common when you're coaching a resolute leader or a deliberate leader. So it's usually not apparent to them until you actually point out, hey, I've given you 5 or 6, a whole lot of feedback in a profile here that says that you do this, the people around you are telling you do that. Here's a little bit of snippet that I've done for the last half hour.
Yeah.
Do you think this could be a thing that might affect or limit your leadership?
So is it a blind spot to seeing it, or what's your perspective?
Yeah, pretty much so. It can be part of that blind spot where other people are aware of it, but you may not be aware of it yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what about this one, Mark? A little bit of a disposition towards disgust is probably a very strong terminology there.
And again, if this is your style and you read that, a predisposition towards disgust is fascinating when you think, well, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, the predisposition to disgust is anything that is weak, anything that is wishy-washy, anything that is overtly emotional, anything that is basically...
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.